All right, listeners, buckle up. Tonight we're diving deep into some seriously creepy stuff. We're talking supernatural horror here, straight from the pages of this novel draft. And let me tell you, it's the kind of story that'll have you double-checking those closet doors. Think like dark forests, the kind where every shadow seems to be moving in whispers, those chills down your spine kind of whispers. And characters, oh man, these characters are battling their own demons, both figuratively and, well, you'll see.
Yeah, the way the author uses those whispers, that really got to me. It's like, classic horror stuff, tapping into that primal fear of the unseen, a whisper. It's so subtle, right? You start doubting what's real, what's in your head.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I was hooked from the first whisper, honestly. But before we get totally lost in the shadows here, let's introduce the players, right? So we've got Rowan Blackwood. He's our main guy, wrestling with some serious inner darkness. Then there's Amelia Thorne. She's got psychic abilities, but she's terrified of them. And on the, well, I guess you could say the more spiritual side, we have Father Benedict. He's an exorcist, seen it all, done it all kind of guy. And to round things out, we've got Dr. Emily Carter. She's our skeptic, the scientist who's about to have her whole worldview, well, flipped upside down.
It's a great mix of personalities, right? Faith versus reason, those who, lean into the supernatural and those who try to explain it away. And it makes you think, how would you react, right? If you were suddenly in a situation where the line between what's real and what's a nightmare, it just vanishes. Would you turn to faith, logic, or something else entirely?
Ooh, okay, that's a question I'm going to be thinking about as we go deeper into this. But honestly, for me, those whispers, they were just unsettling. The author uses them constantly, and they're more than just sounds, you know what I mean? It's like they feed on the characters' doubts, their fears. There's one line that really stuck with me, Rowan says. They seem to come from all around, murmuring my name, twisting my memories into weapons against me. I mean, come on, talk about chill.
Oh, absolutely. That's the heart of psychological horror, right? The whispers become a manifestation of their inner demons, their fears and insecurities, all made real. And what's so clever here is how the whispers play off each character's worldview.
That's a great point. Like for Rowan, he's already battling this darkness inside him, so the whispers, they almost make it worse, right? They prey on his doubts,
Yeah.
make him question his own sanity.
Exactly. And for Amelia, those whispers, they're like a confirmation of her worst fears about her powers. Like they're saying, see, you can't control this, it's dangerous. That's what makes them so insidious. They exploit those individual weaknesses, driving everyone further into fear and isolation.
And then you've got Father Benedict. He sees the whispers as a spiritual attack, something he can fight with faith and ritual, almost like he's trying to bring order to the chaos, find meaning in it.
And that creates such a stark contrast with Dr. Carter, or resident skeptic. She starts out trying to find a rational explanation, right? Dismissing the whispers as hallucinations or some kind of natural phenomenon.
Yeah, she's definitely coming at it from a scientific angle. Evidence, logic, that's her thing. I'm really curious to see how her perspective changes as they go deeper. But before we get to that, can we talk about the City of Shadows?
Yeah.
That name alone, man, it just sends shivers down my spine.
The City of Shadows. Yeah, it's clearly more than just a place on a map. It's a symbol, right? The unknown, the place where all their fears converge. It's such an effective way to build suspense, to make you feel that dread.
Absolutely. And the descriptions the author uses. Crumbling walls, towering spires, the oppressive weight of ancient secrets. It's like the city itself is alive,
Yeah.
watching them, waiting.
It really becomes its own character. And the imagery the author uses, it creates this atmosphere, this feeling of oppression, almost like the city itself is a manifestation of their shared anxieties and trauma. Makes you wonder, what's its role in all of this? Is it the source of the whispers, a refuge, or maybe a trap?
Okay, now I'm officially spooked.
Hmm.
And I can't wait to see what happens when they actually reach this city.
Uh-huh.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, what do you think? How do these characters, how do they change through all this? They're all dealing with their own personal stuff, their fears, but they're also facing this external threat together.
It's interesting how shared trauma, it can create these bonds, these unlikely connections. It forces people to confront their weaknesses and to lean on each other. Think about it. Have you ever faced a challenge, something that changed you? Who was there with you? How did that shared experience, how did it shape you? It's in those moments, right? Those moments of adversity that we often find strength we never knew we had.
But whoa, okay, mind blown. So we've got these characters, they're battling their inner demons. We've got these creepy whispers that seem to be manipulating them. And then there's this mysterious city, the City of Shadows, looming over everything. I have a feeling things are about to get really, really intense.
Oh, you're not wrong. And speaking of intense, We can't forget about the Book of Whispers. The excerpts we have, they end with its discovery, and it's not what you'd expect. It's not like, the book is being tormented by the whispers. It's more like, it's like it holds them, contains them. Like it's the source of their power almost. It's a really cool twist, on the whole whisper and horror thing.
Yeah, totally changes things up. Usually whispers are bad news, right? Evil, madness, that whole deal. But this Book of Whispers, it's like
Mm.
maybe there's something else to them. What if they hold some kind of wisdom?
Yeah.
Instead of being scary, what if they're actually powerful, knowledgeable?
Now that's an interesting question. It makes you wonder, right? Like, what if those things that we fear, the stuff that whispers to us in the dark, what if those fears could actually make us stronger? If we understood them, I mean.
Okay, whoa. That's pretty deep.
Hmm.
So we've got this book, this creepy book that might explain the whispers, and we've got these characters, each with their own baggage, and this city of shadows calling to them. But, I'm curious about the forest itself. It's obviously more than just trees and dirt, right?
Oh, yeah, the forest is like another character, definitely. Full of secrets and a kind of menace. The author describes it as this labyrinth of shadows with trees that twisted like tormented souls. And there's this constant feeling that something's watching you, lurking just out of sight. You can practically feel how heavy it is, the forest, the damp earth, the decay, and the sounds, the rustling in the undergrowth.
Yeah. Remember that part where they talk about the trees having eyes that glinted with malice?
Ugh.
Ugh, I can't get that image out of my head. It's like the forest itself is evil, aware of them, maybe even leading them
Just
somewhere.
like it's testing them,
Yeah,
pushing them to their limits. And that brings us back to that idea of like transformation through trials. These characters, they're being forced to face their fears, their weaknesses in this incredibly intense environment.
totally. Even Father Benedict, right? He's this experienced exorcist, but the forest shakes him. The excerpts talk about how his faith is being tested, how he starts to question everything.
Exactly. And Dr. Carter, the skeptic, she's hitting a wall with her scientific understanding. The forest, with its whispers and creatures and all that, it just doesn't fit into logic. It's forcing her to consider that maybe, just maybe, there are things in the world that science can't explain.
That's so interesting. It's like the forest is a crucible,
Yeah.
making them shed their old beliefs and create new ones. What do you think the bigger picture is here? What's the author trying to say?
One of the big themes, I think, is the power of belief. Not just like religious belief, but believing in yourself, in something bigger, even when everything's uncertain.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like with Rowan, he starts off so lost, right?
Hmm.
But as he faces his fears and starts to believe in something beyond himself, he finds strength, purpose.
Exactly. And Amelia, with her powers, she's so scared to use them. It's not until she believes in herself and her abilities that she can actually access their full potential.
And Dr. Carter, you think the forest, the whispers,
Mm.
maybe they force her to believe in something beyond science? Is that part of her transformation?
That's a really sharp observation. Dr. Carter's journey, it could be about expanding her definition of what's possible. Opening up to the idea that there might be things we don't understand, things beyond science. She might not end up believing in, like ghosts and stuff, but she might come to accept that there are mysteries science can't explain.
Okay, so belief is huge. But what about fear?
Mm.
This is a horror story after all. What's its role in all of this?
Fear, it's primal, it keeps us alive. But in this novel, it's also something you can overcome, even harness. Look at how these characters, they use their fear to push themselves, to take action.
Yeah, like when they're up against those creepy shadow creatures.
Uh-huh.
They're terrified, but they fight back. They protect each other. Fear doesn't stop them.
Right. Fear can paralyze you, but it can also be like a catalyst for growth. It makes you face your limits, and sometimes you find strength you didn't know you had.
That's a powerful message. But what about this city of shadows? We keep saying it's more than just a place. It's like, it represents something deeper, something inside them.
Yeah, I think that's right. The City of Shadows could be a metaphor, right? For their struggles, their internal battles, the dark stuff they need to confront. And maybe their journey to the city is actually a journey inward, like going deep into their own minds.
Okay, so we've got this forest that's both creepy and like a test. These whispers that might be more than they seem, characters who are constantly pushed to change, and the city that's both a real place and a state of mind. But what about the ending? We don't really get one in these excerpts. They're still on their journey.
True, but I think that lack of resolution is on purpose. It leaves you feeling uneasy, wondering what's going to happen next. It also makes you think about your own journey, your own struggles with fear and doubt and belief. What are the shadows inside you, and how would you face them?
Whoa, Didn't think we were getting this introspective. But you're right, those open questions are what stay with you. And speaking of questions, I'm dying to know what happens when they get to that city.
Well, let's not keep our listener waiting any longer. Time to enter those shadows and see what's waiting.
All right, so we're back and ready to face those shadows head on. We've been talking about this city of shadows for a while now, and honestly, I'm kind of dying to know what's waiting for our characters when they finally get there. The author, they've been dropping hints about this place from the very beginning, making it clear it's more than just some creepy setting.
You're spot on. The City of Shadows, it's been hanging over the whole story, like a constant source of dread, but also fascination, right? The author uses this vivid language, talking about crumbling walls and towering spires that pierce the twilight sky. But it's not just the physical stuff that's unsettling. It's this feeling that the city itself is, I don't know, aware, like it's alive somehow.
Totally. Like it's waiting for him, drawing them in. And remember how the author describes the air in the city? Thick with the scent of decay and the oppressive wave of ancient secrets. It's like the city itself is full of this forgotten history, a place where the past just refuses to die. Do you think maybe that's why those whispers get stronger the closer they get? Like maybe the city is the source of their power.
That's a really good point, actually. It could be that the City of Shadows isn't just a place, but like a hub of supernatural energy. Maybe the whispers come from there, feeding off that ancient power. Think about it. A place where the line between the physical and the supernatural is blurred, where echoes of past traumas and fears just linger in the air. Pretty creepy, right?
Yeah, okay, now I'm picturing the city like a giant battery, and those whispers are like electrical currents pulsing out from its core. But if this city is so dangerous, why are the characters so drawn to it? I mean, they could turn back, try to find a different way out of the forest, but they keep going, almost like they have no choice. What do you think is motivating them?
I think it's got to be a few things. On a practical level, maybe they think the city will offer shelter, a place to regroup and figure out what to do next. But I also think on a deeper level, they're looking for answers. They want to understand those whispers, where the evil's coming from. Maybe they think if they reach the heart of the city, they'll find a way to escape the nightmare.
It's like they're on a pilgrimage, right? A quest for the truth. But what kind of truth are they going to find? We've been saying that the City of Shadows represents their inner struggles, the dark parts of themselves they need to confront. What if the answers they find aren't what they're expecting? What if the truth is scarier than those whispers?
That's what's so great about horror, right? It forces you to face what you don't know, to consider the possibility that the answers you're looking for might actually shatter everything you thought you knew. The characters, they might find that the source of the whispers isn't some outside evil, but something inside themselves. Maybe the darkness they've been fighting is a reflection of their own fears and desires.
Whoa, okay, that's a lot to process. But it makes sense. We've seen how those whispers use each character's weaknesses against them. Maybe the City of Shadows is a place where those weaknesses are amplified, where they're forced to face the darkest parts of themselves. You think they're ready for that?
That's the big question, isn't it? Has they grown enough on this journey to handle the truth, even if it's painful? Or are they going to be consumed by the shadows, their own fears turning against them?
Now I'm really hooked. I want to know how this all ends. But unfortunately, all we've got are these excerpts. The author leaves us hanging right at the moment they're about to enter the city. Why do you think they ended it that way?
It's a great way to get your imagination going, right? By leaving the ending open, it makes you wonder about the possibilities, about what's waiting for them inside those city walls. It also kind of forces you to think about your own relationship with fear, with the unknown. What would you do if you were in their shoes? Would you have the courage to face those shadows?
That's a fantastic point. And it brings us back to what you said before about how this story is really about believing. Not just believing in something supernatural, but believing in ourselves, in our own ability to face our fears and come out stronger.
Exactly. And whether these characters win against the whispers or get lost in the darkness, their journey shows us that the most important battles, they're often the ones we fight within ourselves.
So, listeners, that's our deep dive into this world of whispers and shadows. We've explored those characters, that unsettling forest, and the mystery of the City of Shadows. We've talked about fear, belief, and the power of going through tough stuff together. But the story doesn't end here. The author leaves us with a challenge to confront our own shadows, to explore those whispers inside us, and to find the strength that comes from facing our fears. Until next time, happy deep diving.